not only are Catholics bound to believe the so-called deuterocanonical books or scripture, did you know that they're actually forced to believe that the Jews prior to and contemporary with the time of Christ did not have a settled Jewish canon? It's not even an option for them to entertain the possibility that they did have a settled canon, even though there's no historical nor biblical evidence that the Jews didn't have a settled canon, which is something the Catholic has to prove historically or at least biblically. And that's because if they even entertain the possibility that the Jews did have a settled canon, then it would be the canon of the Pharisaic school of Hillel, which even Catholic apologists such as Gary Michuta, William Albrecht, and Trent Horn from Catholic Answers concedes had the same books as the Protestant Old Testament.
The Pharisees and the Hillel school accepted the Protestant canon. That's something actually Trent and I and William concede.
However, we do have historical evidence as early as the end of the 1st century by Josephus, who's writing history, that the Jews did have a settled canon, and he enumerates them as only 22 books that the Jews had accepted, and they were written from the time of Moses to the death of Artaxerxes, which would have been around 400 BC, which would have included all the books of the Hebrew Bible, but none of the so-called deuterocanonical books, since they wouldn't be written until hundreds of years later. So this is the reason why Catholics must believe that the Jews didn't have a settled canon. Otherwise, they would have to acknowledge that it was the books of the Hebrew Bible, because they match the same books as the Pharisaic school of Hillel.